Hey guys, so today we are reacting to a video called They Are Now Accusing Larian Studios of Racism Over Divinity. So I'm betting you that it's related to both jealousy of how Baldur's Gate 3 was so successful. And I believe wasn't Baldur's Gate cheaper at release than a lot of AAA titles, and that was something they were complaining about. I remember something along the lines of them, like developers across the industry complaining that, oh, it's an unreasonable standard to have a video game this good and this cheap a price. I believe it was something like $10 cheaper than the average game released at the time. Maybe even more, actually. I'm going to confirm that myself, because the average game here in Canada releases for about $95 before tax. Yeah, so it's actually about $15 cheaper than your average AAA release, but it was in 2023. I think the increase to being like $95 might have been after, so I think this is actually a bit closer than what I'm thinking. And the difference between this and other AAA games. But even if so, it was a great story and a really well-made game that is still absolutely beloved by the community, and they deserve all the credit they got for making that game. But all I'm aware of in terms of trouble they've been going through, I have no idea what they're going to say involving supposed racism, but I'm betting you right now it's probably bullshit. And yeah, the only problem I'm aware of them having is the whole stuff about I believe it's the owner or lead developer of Larian Studios, Sven Vinky, I believe is how you say his name. That he admitted that they're using some AI to inspire their artists, supposedly. I don't necessarily believe that. Sounds a bit too far-fetched. I think that they're probably using it somewhat in development. That's just my guess. I can't say definitively. But if it's not approved by the company, like, I could see there being a few lazy employees who just use it and try and hide that fact from their superiors and put it in the game. And if it's revealed in the future that like actual components in the game are using AI created material because there's something up with art that looks strange and people catch on to it, or anything else really, like the source code being all weird, then I could really see it backfiring on Larian if that happens, but that's just my guess. I can't say definitively, obviously, until proven otherwise. That's what they're doing. I'm just going to be suspecting that because the games industry, by and large, is pretty shit, and I think even the quote-unquote good companies are hiding some dumb crap they've done, or really greedy things at one point in time or another. I'm not the type to follow a studio like they're literally creating God's work. It's just not that. Even if the company keeps churning out good games, it's a point of view of when is shit gonna hit the fan and when are they gonna turn around and change their behavior from being good to greedy. It's going to happen at some point, whether that's a result of a layoff of a high-ranking individual who actually had passion for a project and loved it and tried his best to get it done, or whether he retires, or whatever else happens in the real world that causes a shift in the company's mentality. I expect it from every video game company at some point to happen, and some can recover, some companies, but some, their blunder is just so big, they're forced to shut doors and close studios, just like Ubisoft is going to be doing, because they used to be back in the early to mid 2000s, every game they released was like a hit after a hit after a hit. The last 13 or so years, all they've had that's done really well is Rainbow Six Siege. And that's largely it, because Assassin's Creed has been getting worse with every release. Every release, it's been getting worse. I think the last truly good Assassin's Creed game, I believe I mentioned in one of my other videos, was Assassin's Creed Black Flag. After that, Origins was still pretty decent, but after that, I think pretty much all of them were crap. But I'm going to get into the video. If I talk too much now, this video is going to take forever to finish. Excuse me.
Oh man, can you guys hear it? Can you guys see it all across the internet? Ladies and gentlemen, you hear all that screaming, all that screeching, all that
Yep.
reading?
Your average day on Twitter. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish I didn't either. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute bloodbath out there on social media right now. And we just got finished making a video, not even just a couple of days ago, celebrating the announcement of Divinity, the upcoming RPG, turn-based RPG, mind you.
I need to play the first two games. I've played a little bit of the first one, but I played like less than 20 minutes of it. For some reason at the time, I just wasn't feeling it.
Together to play the same exact video game. It gave you options that everybody could enjoy, and ultimately Larian became a powerhouse in the gaming industry because of it. However, it seems like the certain people that love to be pandered to, the certain people that thought Divinity was the greatest game ever, the certain people who are out here who promised that they would never leave Larian's side because they gave you bear sex in Baldur's Gate 3.
Never encountered that situation because I killed the bear guy when I met him. I didn't know it was him until later, but I didn't like him. I didn't like his character.
Because of the usage of generative AI. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, even though Larian admitted that they are not putting this in the final game, and they are
which I'm skeptical of,
tools available to their concept artists if they want to use it to help them brainstorm for concept art. At the end of the day, AI
but I'm open to being proven wrong.
Industry are using to attack people and make them make a moral grandstand on it. You have to side with us. You have to bend the knee.
Everyone and everything in the West today.
And if you don't,
I'm just going to pause real quick. This specifically is why so many people are just fucking done with the last 10 years. It's just non-stop censorship based on virtue signaling or purity signaling, or even a combination of both. I don't care who's doing it, right or left. It's just, you have to be blind to not realize that the majority of the time it has unfortunately come from the left. The right does it too, just in different ways, and they're not doing it as loudly, and there's not as many of them doing it to the point where they're pissing people off, because they've been forced on the back onto the rear end with the whole political ideology war that's been going on the last 15 or so years. They've been forced on the back foot, so they've had to watch what they say until recently, because now they're, especially in the United States, they're turning things around. Europe, on the other hand, seems to be instead going like, okay, no, we're not having right-leaning party taking over, like stuff like they did with Germany. Basically trying to make their I guess they're an equivalent to Republicans, essentially. Party, like, they're basically, last I heard from them, which was months ago, they were basically deeming them as if they're an extremist group, which they're not. But that sort of shit is widely happening in Europe, and I feel like, for the most part, Europe, especially Western Europe, is probably lost at this point. Places like Hungary and Poland are exceptions, but like, how long are they going to be holdouts? That's the real question. Because if you start getting mass waves of immigrants around all your borders, it's going to be a very difficult job to protect them. But that's a whole other thing. I should continue the video just so I don't get more and more into politics.
And I'm not kidding. It is going so far that when I say this is going to blow your mind, but they are making claims that Larian Studios is now racist for using...
Whoop-de-doo. For AI of all things, yeah, it's retarded.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm tired.
Yeah, everyone with a brain is tired of this bullshit. They should have been called out for this crap years ago, like the moment it started. You give them a step, they take not just a mile, but they take the whole plate.
Stick around, give it a long view duration because there's going to be so much to unpack in this video regarding the non-stop attacks that Larian Studios is currently experiencing from the certain kind of people over on social media that love to virtue signal. If anybody is unaware,
hate those people.
A bit of a lesson going on right now around AI. So generative AI, and that's specifically what we're talking about. Although these idiots are going to just simply say AI.
Yeah, of course the devs are going to do that.
Generative AI is being
as a form of because yeah, they're scared to get replaced. And sorry about all the pausing, but the video game industry is about like constantly pushing the limits of what they can achieve and making good titles that their fans are going to adore and want to buy. And they spend so much money on games nowadays that they can't risk like even one really big loss. Even if, say, they make a game where they only lose like $50 million, but they invested like $300 million into it, that's still too much of a hit. Because that means rather than actually just losing, say, $50 million on the side, they're losing, actually, in reality, $350 million because of the investment they put into it. They're losing that, and then they have an extra $50 million they're lacking in profit revenues. So in reality, you're losing a lot of money when you make risks like that. It's ridiculous how expensive it is to make video games. And a big part of that is unfortunately like stuff like this new technology, like this specific facial capturing and rendering software and other things like it that are just costing these studios hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars that quite frankly aren't needed. Like there's a very small subset of people, which is maybe 2 or 3% of people who play video games, who would genuinely maybe stop playing because that's out, but that would free up money to be used on other things related to the game, like marketing or just anything else in development in general that's much more important to it, and that would lessen the hit of these effects on the companies. So honestly, they don't need that sort of thing. It's merely just these people are trying to make the highest quality product just in the wrong way, and they're risking too much money doing it. I think we'd have so much more original video games if companies would just stop that. Like the video game industry, I already see this happening, and I've seen it happening for at least the last 3 years, but indie games are taking it over, and they're going to especially studios that do start off as indies and are very successful because of whatever game they release. By the time they get to like their third, if not their second game, if it keeps like a constant trajectory of going upwards in value and the amount of purchases players make on the sold copy on release, like these companies in 20 years could replace what the companies that are the mainstream right now. Like we could see something, for example, replace Rockstar, EA, etc., if smaller indie companies just get a giant hit and they develop it for pretty cheap. Like Claire Obscure, I think it was something like 400,000, I want to say, dollars or something like that to make, or was it 40 million? It was something like that. But they have. We don't even need to look at a chart. I bet you they, with all the purchases this year, they've probably made at least $500 million, at least, if not more. There's no way they haven't. And in profits, it's still probably actually at least 400 million. Regardless of what that figure is they had for funding for the actual game. Yeah, I'm betting you it's going to be a much different story. But I need to play this because I keep talking.
Has all kinds of weird stuff in their bio. They're trying to use it as a form of moral panic, trying to say, well, you can't replace artists with AI.
You can, unfortunately.
That's not right. Mind you, these are the same people
so
that'll go to a McDonald's and utilize.
It's not supposed to be about what's fair because, yeah, I don't like saying this at the end of the day, but the investors and the owners of the studio, they have to take a much bigger risk on this than the average employee does. It's easier for them to swallow the loss if they're a billionaire. And people don't want to show any pity to a billionaire because they completely view, and which is justified to a degree, as that person having an easy life. But it depends. Is it a self-made billionaire too? Like that's remembered the experience from when they were young and poor, or just whenever they before they became a billionaire? And the main impact it has on is it really screws over the average player of the game. If the player's looking forward to a game, they spend their hard-earned money on it, and it just is a broken, hot piece of shit. No paying customer should have to put up with that. I don't really view a lot of things as like consumer culture being a very good thing, but at the end of the day, they are paying their money for that. And in most cases, those people, if they're paying for a video game, which statistics have already proven multiple times in the past and this year as well, that the average person buying games, at least on Steam, only buys a few per year, which means they're probably strapped for cash or time because they have responsibilities in life. But yeah, this whole thing, it's just ridiculous. And these devs aren't owed a continual job forever or any time beyond what their bosses say, because like if they release a game that's a total piece of shit, I'm sorry, but I don't feel pity or sympathy for you if you get fired. Unless you were literally forced to release it by your higher-ups, which I bet you there are for sure workers who've had to take the fall because of their boss being like that. All right.
A kiosk to order their food instead of going to the cashier to ensure that the cashier gets to keep their job, even though we all know that hasn't happened because they were already replaced by machines for the most part. These people, these absolute hypocrites, are utilizing AI as a form of moral panic to try to get studios to all bend the knee to their hatred to AI for whatever that reason may be. It's either you stand.
It's to try and keep their jobs. It's clearly meant for that.
This idea about anything they would deem to be virtuous, and now AI, or I should say anti-AI, is deemed to be virtuous. So right now, all over social media, there is a war zone going on. It is surrounding the video game Divinity. Now, Divinity is the upcoming RPG from Larian Studios that everybody's excited about. Yes, everybody's excited about it for the most part. Turn-based RPGs are making an absolute comeback, and Baldur's Gate was an amazing turn-based RPG, and they're coming back stronger than ever with a bigger video game, bigger than even Baldur's Gate 3, and it's still going to be a turn-based RPG. I'm super excited to check out what they have to offer, and I know that
yeah, I'm very interested in seeing just how good it can be. There's no way I'm pre-ordering, but I'm gonna at least take a look.
The mainstream gaming media from attacking this video game. Multiple different outlets have wrote multiple different articles just in the past couple of days alone. They're taking one interview with certain people over at Larian, and they're breaking it up into 4, 5, 6 different articles, all basically attacking the idea of generative AI and trying to claim that Larian Studios is apparently pushing hard for generative AI.
I don't like the idea of the AI being used, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
all of this nonsense. So
And if a company needs to fire 1,000 employees to stay afloat, that they have to do it.
Yes, even the claims of racism. They're trying to claim that by utilizing AI data centers or utilizing AI in general.
Let me guess, posted by the most liberal white woman ever.
The level of code that these people are trying to have regarding Larian Studios utilizing AI. And keep in mind, guys, when you go on a witch hunt like this and you start going insane, when you start attacking studios, trying to cancel them and everything under the sun and saying or pretending for social media clout that you're totally not going to play this game, when we all know that you're going to, all this does is make these studios not want to tell you anything. They don't want to be transparent, because when they're transparent, they're going to get attacked over it. It's absolutely insane. But anyway, let's continue. So we're going to start.
Well, it'll be even worse if they're not transparent when they eventually get caught. It might take time, but it'll be worse. That feels like it implies something which it shouldn't. They shouldn't be trying to be quiet.
Now, this is something that's been openly admitted for.
You're an employee, you should have to fucking do it. It shouldn't matter if you don't want to do it. If you're an employee, you should be fucking doing your job, period.
On the gaming media side now is having a moral panic around AI, and they're bringing up old conversations of studios openly admitting that they're utilizing AI for some, minuscule tasks or some concept art ideas or whatever the case may be. They're bringing up the use of generative AI, and now they're trying to create a moral panic around it. And I want to be very clear before I go into the rest of this video, the reason why the gaming media is doing this is because they themselves are being replaced by AI. They are trying to make this into a moral shitstorm over on social media because they want people to have in their minds that all AI is bad.
No, it's not all inherently bad. It's how it's used.
When they do the moral panic thing, everybody will be on their side in basically extending their lifeline when it comes to their jobs. But the funny thing is, these journalists use AI.
The only time I think AI is inherently bad is the concept of, like, how they're portrayed in some media. Are they able to develop a conscience, essentially, and act as if they're an alive being? I don't think they should be given rights, even if that happens. You can say I'm evil piece of shit for thinking that, but it's not going to change the reality that those are a threat. If that sort of thing happened, they need to be completely and utterly destroyed on the spot, because stuff like that is just completely like having a suicidal level of empathy trying to get yourself killed. It's ridiculous. But if it's something like a concept of development part of a video game, using it to generate art, that's not a problem. These people are just willing to do anything, screw over the customer, screw over their boss, screw over their coworkers, basically everything under the sun in order to keep their job, and it's clear as day that's what they're doing. The only people who are getting fooled by this are either complete idiots or are people who also benefit from this and are in the same position as these people, basically doing the same thing. So I am not going to take anything those two groups say seriously, and nor should really any consumer.
To write their articles. Some of them even use AI freaking profiles, where they're not even real journalists. They're just made-up journalists that are writing AI articles because these journalist websites fired most of their staff, but they're trying to upkeep production. It is such a hypocritical thing. But anyway, let's talk about it. So this was the article that was written by GameSpot, and now that ended up causing a response from Swen Vicky over at
Swen Vicky, okay.
He says the following.
I thought it was Sven Vicky.
Has almost 10 million views at the time of
way too similar to
this video. He says, holy fuck, guys, we're not pushing hard for or replacing concept artists with AI. We have a team of 72 artists, of which 23 are concept artists, and we are hiring more. The art that they create is original, and I'm proud of what they do. I was asked explicitly about concept art and our use of generative AI. I answered that
I think up to the current point, regardless of what happens in the future, at this current moment in time, I think there's a bit more weight behind his words, considering the passion he had with Baldur's Gate 3, and that there's no credible source showing he actually did some under the rug bullshit like these people are trying to imply he did. Now, does that mean I'm fully relieving him of a guilt? No. There's most likely some of this is AI, and he could just be talking about the 72 artists as of that point in the video. Or at that point when the comment was posted, I should say, rather. You never know. They may have fired employees already in the past to replace them with AI or something of that effect. I feel like we're never going to get the full truth from these companies because their investments is going to be their main thing they defend every time. And if your reputation goes under, your profits or margins are going to go down too.
Just like we use Google as workbooks. At the very early ideation stages, we use it as a rough outline for composition.
Because investors will withdraw money and stuff like that.
Concept art. There is no comparison. I talk about how we use ML here if you would like to know more. And we've hired creatives.
You better make darn sure then, if you're going to give this promise to radicals like this, you better make absolute sure there's not even one skin or anything otherwise that is straight up made by AI. Because if people spot inconsistencies with textures, models, etc., even if it's a small thing that somehow gets past, like the people who are checking the game to make sure everything is all right, then there's going to be a giant shit show in the future, and I have a feeling that's going to happen. Because AI is going to be getting more and more involved in the development of games, and that's just an inevitability. There's no getting around that.
To make their lives easier. Now, it basically seems as if he leaves it up to his artists to decide whether or not they want to utilize certain tools to either brainstorm or make their lives easier. But at the end of the day, if they say that they are putting in their own original work into the game and no AI is actually making it into the game, I don't understand what people's gripe is. And I'll be real with you, even if they did use AI, if you couldn't tell and the game is good and it all looks good, nobody's going to care. This whole moral panic about you should be against all
that's just self-preservation at the cost of everyone else.
AI being utilized as a tool is the way to go.
And when that's the case, no wonder people are not going to like you.
As long as the quality remains the same or to help you make your life easier. I'm all for making the developers' lives easier. That way they can focus on the more important things instead of the smaller menial tasks, as long as quality is not affected. If you start going the route of Bethesda, releasing 16 times the bugs, then that's obviously going to be a major problem. We can cross that bridge when we get there. But as of right now, there is no reason to believe, due to the quality that Larian has been putting out, that they will release anything other than that. And if they do, we will call it out when that happens. But people are freaking out because they're attributing all AI to be the same exact thing. And I also think that's where a lot of the issues that are affecting this right now stem from. The fact that people don't understand the differences in AI usage. AI has been utilized for a long time now, for years, by all of your favorite studios in all of your favorite video games.
Yep.
They've used some form of AI in the past. Just like a lot of your favorite DVDs, your 4K DVDs are all AI upscaled remasters, right? They're not like, you guys realize that this has been utilized for the longest time now.
Yeah, it's just it hasn't been at the level where the AI itself is taking over people's jobs. It just filled one or two specific purposes before. It's just getting that much better that quick.
No amount of downvotes,
yeah.
Or social media posts is going to change that. The only reason AI is seen negatively online is that artists and media have manufactured false consensus that it is bad to protect their jobs. And that is exactly
100%.
what I've been saying for the longest time. We are seeing something happen right now. This is a technological boom. We are seeing something that has happened in the past many times before. In all forms of industrial revolutions and everything under the sun, people have lost their jobs due to some form of automation. And AI, while it's not true automation, it is just a tool that's going to allow certain studios to progress without having to hire a certain amount of people. And it's going to allow the better artists to do their job even better, while the bad ones get replaced by the better artists who know how to utilize all the tools available to them. And
that's just the way of the world and how it works. It is what it is. If you're incompetent and you get fired because of it, that's on you.
And again, I've been saying this for the longest time. So the fallout from
Either put in serious effort and get better, or you've just proven you're incompetent and shouldn't have a job anyways.
And I swear I'm gonna save the racism one for last because it is just mind blowing that they're trying to call Larian Studios racist for using AI. It's unbelievable. So let's begin here, and this is gonna be a joke. So
Yep.
again, get your
Well, I mean, people who say this shit is already a fucking joke.
This post here from somebody called Kate says this is how it feels reading that Larian used generative AI, and then seeing Expedition 33 also used AI, and also how a bunch of indie horror games are using AI, and how so many studios are implementing it, and how films are using AI for artwork, and how AI is destroying everything, and they essentially showcase a video clip.
It's not going to destroy everything unless you are becoming completely reliant on it, which is the main fear.
Then you have the virtue signal, right? You're going to have other studios trying to put down Larian Studios
with like rational people.
Own video game with some false sense of moral outrage, right? You have this person called My Fjord over here on X and said, here's Playdead making concept art without using AI.
Who boo hoo. Boo fucking who cares?
I'm not even kidding. You have other studios now attacking Larian Studios and using that attack as a means to advertise their video game that was totally not using AI. It is an absolute joke, man. It's actually kind of pathetic. Then you have this post from somebody called Songbird saying this is disappointing, especially from a studio that has mocked the use of generative AI. It doesn't matter if it's only being used for tiny things or that none of it will be in the final product. People adore Larian. You really want to lose all that goodwill over AI slop? That is another term that they love using.
From someone who's most likely using it themselves as well.
And then everybody will get their NPC download and start repeating the same thing over and over and over again.
If there's any kind of, and sorry for pausing again, but if there's any sort of fucking person I hate in this world, it is the people who have to be in like the main social circle of like popularity at all times. Those fucking people I cannot stand. They're slime, they're scum, they will do whatever it takes to get attention, no matter what. And then if they start getting bad attention, they'll if they realize that that's not going to go away, then they'll just try and farm the negative attention so long as they can stay popular. I thought just the way people go in social circles like that, it comes off as the most scumbaggy thing ever. I fucking hate it with a passion.
I'm going to be very clear with you. All of you guys calling Larian Studios' upcoming game AI slop, I can't wait to hang out with you when we go over the Steam numbers and realize that Larian's upcoming Divinity is going to be easily, at least at the bare minimum, over 500,000 concurrent players.
Yep.
Although I would not be surprised if it actually managed to hit the magic 1 million over just on Steam alone. I would not be surprised in the slightest. So I can't wait for it to...
Yeah, because the good graces Baldur's Gate got, because of just how good it was, it's going to carry over somewhat. Maybe not completely, or maybe even more. Who knows? We just have to wait and see.
They have zero power here. Nobody cares. As long as the video game is good and nobody can tell that AI was used and it all looks copacetic compared to what it was, you know, in the past with Baldur's Gate 3 and Divinity and whatnot, nobody is going to care. I don't know how much more I can clarify that. And there will be no goodwill loss for Larian. And to be honest with you, I think this is probably better. I think this is probably a good thing. If Larian Studios can call a couple of these people from their, you know, supposed fan base, I think that's a good thing because these people clearly don't care about the game or the studio or the franchise. They only care about utilizing some form of a virtue signal over on Twitter. And AI is the
fans who defend the game from this AI stuff, but then attack other games that use AI, you're retarded as well.
Sincerely, what the fuck is this? I don't even... Anyway, let me go back. So we got Larian is using AI. It's actually so fucking over, man.
No, it's not.
Are you serious right now, bro? They've been saying that they've been utilizing AI since April of this year. Where have you been? It's because somebody told you to be upset. Now you're upset. It's unbelievable. Anyway, let's continue. You have this
it's now that it happened after they announced their game and got people hyped.
It then uses AI in development. Big brain moment.
That these people found out about it, that they're getting angry.
That's not true at all. That's not the fact that these people.
Yeah, it's not true.
Is such a joke. It really is. This is why The modern audience, when they attach themselves to a video game that is successful, like Baldur's Gate 3, for example, they don't realize that Baldur's Gate 3 was successful because it appeased everyone, right? Everybody was there playing Baldur's Gate 3, left, right, center. It didn't really matter about politics. It was a good game that a lot of people enjoyed. It was from a franchise that had a long legacy, right? Baldur's Gate
Yeah.
has a long legacy behind it, long before these people figured out that they are
People
not
at the end of the day, they just want a good game.
long history behind it, and that is the reason why
They will not, for the most part, care how it's made unless, like, someone's getting hurt as a result of someone's actions in the development. And I don't mean in the financial way, because they're responsible for themselves. I mean, like, if someone's getting, like, threatened, life destroyed, etc. somehow, that's when people will actually care.
Whatsoever. I can tell just based off the interactions on my videos and other people's videos about this game. People are absolutely looking forward to Divinity, and it's going to destroy everything. And then you have some more positive posts, which I want to go over as well, because it's not all negative. You have Legacy Killer HD says, with all the hate that Larian is receiving right now over their admitting to using generative AI, it is pretty funny that the game that just won Game of the Year, Expedition 33, fully admitted as well to it months ago, and there's been next to zero mention of it. Well, that's because there was no moral panic, right? The NPCs hadn't received their download yet. Once they all received their download, now all of a sudden everybody cares about generative AI. Earlier this year, nobody was even talking about it, and that's when they admitted it, and nobody cared. Literally nobody cared. But now all of a sudden, they were told they have to be against it. So now they are against it. You have this negative post that I forgot to go over, called from Raven, says, well, Divinity is AI slop now, so all my interest in that game and Larian as a studio is dead now. What a fucking slap.
No one cares. No one cares, Raven. Go swimming or something. Go jump in a lake. No one fucking cares.
The weirdest profile pictures ever. Like, I don't understand these people. And of course, when you click their profile, they have blue sky in their header. So that tells me everything I need to know.
As soon as you see blue sky in someone's header, means they're a total coward. They will run to a place, to their little safe space, where there's no criticism towards their dumb bullshit they spew.
Crystal clear about how they use AI to make their staff's jobs more manageable. The opinion flipping depending on the wind is infuriating, especially when it's loud and ignorant. Yeah, 100%. This is quote tweeting someone that I actually agreed with in my Divinity video, ironically. And now it seems like they're flip-flopping and attacking Divinity, all because they found out they use generative AI to some extent. It's such a joke, man. These people don't actually care about the games. They don't care about the studios making the games. They don't care about any of this stuff. And they'll be the first ones to attack YouTubers, saying that YouTubers don't care about the games or the developers or anything. But here we are sticking by the studio, and you morons are flip-flopping because somebody told you to be mad about AI. It's such a joke, man. Anyway, so shout out to New Day for that one. And then you have a post here from Balafour over on X, says, concept artist here. The AI hate directed at Larian Studio is 100% ignorant and bad faith virtue signaling. Artists are not against AI usage as a tool. We're against...
Depends on the artist.
Trained on
really.
Artworks and mass-produced slops that imitated our hard work and then marketed as our replacement. Exactly. That's what I've been saying forever. In pre-production, the art team would grab random pictures off the internet and other games to create a general mood board for aesthetics and vibe that fit the art direction. There are more nuances than this. I'm describing this in the most simplified way possible. A mood board of a character may include several pictures of other video games or anime shows, dozens of objects with texture references for parts of their attire, multiple reference pictures or relevant objects such as animals or historical weapons, or even other character artwork made from other games, all of which are randomly drawn from the internet and put together for the purpose of creating an overall aesthetic for a design that will become original in its own way, inspired by its references and the artist's own creativity and originality to visualize it when they create the design by doing ART.
You're going a bit overboard here. Whoever posted this. Well, fuck, do they have this much space on Twitter?
Labor of looking for relevant and cool pictures on the internet. In essence, there is zero reason why AI speeding up the process is a bad thing. It is essentially the same as someone using Grok for facts that they could have spent a few hours reading through Wikipedia pages. None of the pictures grabbed by either the AI or the art team in this process are being exploited for any monetary gain, since they're simply inspiration and visual direction. This has been standard practice in the industry for decades, and again, this is just proof that these people don't actually know what they're mad at. They're only mad because they were told to be mad. Isn't that sad? Where you're actually angry on social media because somebody told you to be mad. Instead of just going over the information, like, I like to go over the information and let people decide for themselves whether or not, they agree or they disagree. And they can always let me know in the comments. But
yeah, at the end of the day,
only mad because the told them to be mad.
No one's opinion really matters all that much unless they can literally force like a sway of you with their words, which is extremely rare. And when it comes to video games, the most important person is gonna be the customer, because they decide if a game is a failure or a success.
Saying that this whole Larian situation shows me once again that most gamers don't even know what AI even means and regularly confuse generative AI with ML. No wonder there is so much fear mongering. And well, that's because that is the fault of the gaming media. They don't want to specify generative AI with ML or anything like that. They don't want to specify because the more they specify, the less people are going to care. If they can keep it vague, if they can keep it open, then more people are more likely to be upset and care and join their cause, whatever that cause may be, versus them being more specific. And people are like, well, actually, now that I know more about this, I really don't care too much. They don't want that kind of response. They want people to be on their side and be against AI for the greater cause or something. I really don't know. Now, Daniel Vavra is a very controversial figure, somebody who I've openly disagreed with his statements in the past. I had defended his video game. I said KCD2 was very good, and I stand by that. I think KCD2 is a very good RPG, was a lot of fun.
A game I need to play, but I know there's some bullshit.
And he's getting a lot of hate for it as well. So Daniel Vavra says the following: this AI hysteria is the same as when people were smashing steam engines in the 19th century. I agree. Larian said that they were doing something that absolutely everybody else is doing and got an insanely crazy shitstorm. And this is why nobody else admits to doing it.
Excuse me.
I just want you guys to realize that the transparency in the gaming industry that I keep asking for, that you keep asking for, is going to go away if this shit keeps happening, where people are getting on simply for doing something that everybody else is doing as well and speeding up their own internal processes. But anyway, I've seen someone accuse us of using AI in KCD2. I don't know anything about
whenever there's like a new form of technology that people don't understand and seems too alien to them, they're gonna fear it. It's pretty natural to think that. It's ridiculous at this point in time compared to, like he said, with steam engines in the past, because in the past that was like in a category of its own of being like completely new. There was nothing even similar to it. We understand computer systems much, much better than them having any reference to something being similar to steam engines. There shouldn't be as much paranoia behind it, and it really just goes to show a lot of people, when it comes to the like actual use, it depends on the use of it. It's not that bad in most circumstances. There are horrible things it can be used for. And like I said, theoretically, if the AI developed sentience, that's when I'd say the shit hits the fan. That's when I'd say it's bad, but that's just a theory for now. We don't know if that can actually happen.
I'm no fan of AI-generated art, but anyway, it's time to face reality. AI is here to stay with us, as frightening as it may be. That's just the way it is. Personally, it scares me to the most, the music, because you can't even recognize AI there anymore. On the other hand, you know what I hate the most about making games? The fact that it takes 7 years and 300 people and tens of millions of dollars to make, and the fact that Tom had to spend 500 hours in the studio recording completely generic heckling and generic bars. If AI could help me make an epic game in a year with a smaller team like the old days, then I'm all for it. The game will still have an art director, writers, programmers, graphic designers, but they won't have to do the tiresome and boring tasks anymore. They'll have to just focus on the essentials. I have ideas for lots of video games, but I'm 50 years old, and so far it's taken me 7 years on average to make one game. If AI helps me realize these ideas faster, I'm all for it. As for the RPG and the actors, wouldn't it be nice if you could ask anyone anything in an RPG, like maybe someone from the road directions or what they think of the neighbors?
Like, with video game development, what I want to see in the future is, instead of the sort of thing where you have in RPGs where you get a prompt giving you like 1 to 5 different answers or questions you can ask an NPC in a game, if the NPCs could be developed to have obviously a certain personality, but to the point where you, instead of getting 5 different options, you just have an empty bar which can fill with any question you want to ask it about like the character's background in the story, and it can, like, in a realistic sort of way, like give you a responses to almost any question you can come up with, as long as it doesn't break immersion. Because I'm not sure how they'd fully get around that. That would be extremely complicated to actually achieve, but I'd love to see that someday. I bet you will at some point down the line be capable of doing something like that. It's, to me, not really a question of if, it's a matter of when.
Already have tools, which 11 Labs can do it, but where you script an NPC, their character, their knowledge, and opinions, and they talk to you about anything. For non-story stuff, this is absolutely revolutionary development from a player's point of view, and you can't record it with an actor because it has infinite variations. But what you can record are cutscenes and story dialogue. You don't need an Oscar-level performance with ordering a sausage in a pub or when
Exactly.
asking how to get to the castle. Programmers have a problem. The work of most of them will probably not be needed very soon. We will have software architects and AI will do.
So that's going to especially be the case for big companies, but sort of a way to get around it. And yeah, it's not a 100% thing. It's not going to work in every case, but how I'm betting you that AI are not going to completely replace developers in this space is indie titles, because they're not going to have the funding for these massive data centers unless they have pre-backing, and that's going to be very few of like new video game studios coming out. The people who get laid off quite often, what's going to happen is they're just going to form their own teams and make a new company and come out with their own IPs. So actually, in a way, if things go that route, it actually might be better for the industry as a whole. It's just that instead of having a career, you'll have mostly a few years maybe with a new studio, and then when they get really big, they're gonna do the same thing. So it's gonna be a rinse and repeat kind of situation, unless a studio is ridiculously loyal to their employees even at that point. But I wouldn't expect it to really be occurring at that point. If they've been really successful and have a few games out, they'd probably just shift how they handle things and be like any other AAA studio. But in a way, it actually could lead, I think, to maybe a potential golden age of gaming if things go that route, because they're let go. That means AI is going to be taking their place, and if AI gets better and it takes their place, that means that some of those games could be very, very good, probably more so down the line. We have to kind of wait and see. But the people going and forming new studios, which will happen in some cases, even if it's not like a crazy amount, they will form their own studios and make new games, and that leads to more games being on the market, and hopefully those games are good as well. And my experience with playing games on Steam and on PC in general is just that indie companies, usually the ones that make it big, they stay pretty good for quite a while.
Programming very soon. Resisting this is probably as meaningful as resisting the use of sewing machines in the textile industry. Who and how will recognize if the game was programmed by a human or AI? And
Yeah.
who would want to spend months of work or hundreds of thousands of dollars when the same thing can be achieved in minutes for free? The whole AI revolution may mean the demise of humanity. Nobody knows now, but it may also mean that anyone at a fraction of the current cost will be able to implement virtually any grand idea. Making a game will be as easy as writing a book. There will be more games. We will see the return of niche genres. Some games will be better, maybe just a few, but there will also be a lot of trash. But who cares? There is a lot of average trash in books or music for years now. It will also
It's been the same for video games as well. Anyone who says otherwise is just talking shit.
Resources anymore. What we saw with the boom of indie scene thanks to Steam, we will see with AAA games thanks to AI. Or Skynet will destroy all of us before that. Either way, there's no stopping it. I used AI to translate this text from my native language. Let the shitstorm begin. Now that's pretty funny. That was pretty funny ending. Now again, guys, he's absolutely correct. At the end of the day, AI is here to stay. There is no stopping it, and it all depends on how it is utilized. Are there going to be studios that are going to utilize it the wrong way? Absolutely. There is no doubt about it. Is there going to be studios that are going to utilize it the right way? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And just like we call out the good, the bad, and the ugly now, that's exactly what we have to do in the future. Call out the good and the bad and the ugly. And if that means calling out certain people that utilize AI the wrong way, then that's what we're going to do. Now let's get to the final claim. And this has to be the best claim of them all, ladies and gentlemen. When I saw this, I think I face planted onto my desk. I'm not even kidding me. I think
the racism claim, like you mentioned before.
Of the face plant. But there is this post here from somebody called Alexandria. saying the following: waking up to both Larian Studios and Expedition 33 team admitting to the use of generative AI wasn't on my bingo card, and I'm so immeasurably disappointed. I am
Yep,
so tired
yep,
of
and
AI being
like I
shoved down
guessed,
my throat.
a fucking liberal white woman, and I guarantee you she fucking is. Green fucking hair, it's a dead giveaway.
So harmful, this is the best part,
Yep.
to the environment and black communities. Oh my god.
Yep. Excuse. No. You are using black people as a shield to try and get rid of AI or shame people at least who use it. Because I don't think you're stupid enough, well, maybe, to think that your complaint is going to lead to the end of AI being used. But you are trying to use them as a shield. Fuck right off.
This includes your cute little AI profile pictures and silly memes, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am not kidding. She said that it is harmful to the environment and black.
No, it is not. Especially the environment. Oh my god.
Gave any context for this. And of course, with a virtue signaler who only uses Google, that uses AI, by the way, ironically, she had to make a post clarifying it. She says the following: hey, Google works wonders, but the data centers they build for AI are built on marginalized communities.
Oh my god, shut up.
Massive amounts of pollution.
Oh. I don't face bomb now. Oh my god. Dude. No, fuck off. It is not being done there. You know absolutely nothing about the areas where these data centers are being made, clearly, just based off of the pure bullshit that's coming out of your mouth. You need to shut up and go do your own shit. There is no way that is happening. Stop this minority / racial / gender / sex pandering bullshit. Society is done with it. We are tired of it. There's a reason you are going under, and you're going to stay under while you keep doing this bullshit. And guess what? I bet you by the time you actually stop and get your head on straight even a little bit, you're only doing it to maintain your image. You're a manipulative bitch, and everyone is tired of you.
This is a good example. There is very little to no regulation on it, and the companies don't care about the damage they cause.
These people are jokes.
I want to be very clear. Most, if not almost all, of the damage that is caused by the creation of a data center is caused by the construction companies that are making the entire area, right? When we talk about the water being damaged or anything like that, this is from the construction companies. You can look it up yourself if you want. This is mostly from the construction companies. That's not to say that the data centers don't have their own issues, but for the most part, the construction companies are the ones that cause a lot of the problem. Now, it's so funny she brings up Memphis.
Yeah, it's going to be the construction companies, if that's true at all, in the cases it is.
While it is a predominant black community of 63% black people, there is still 25% white people. There is about 10% Hispanic and Latino, and then you have everything else that makes up the population of Memphis, Tennessee. So you mean to tell me that this is somehow a racist thing, even though it's affecting all kinds of people, not just black people? And by the way, they are building...
The only time this bullshit is going to end is the day that people stop paying attention to these people and completely ignore them, which basically means either never or these people are going to be censored to hell and back. That's just simply how it is. I don't agree with the censorship, even though these people make me want to slap the hell out of them. At the end of the day, I'm not going to do it, though, but still, it's so ridiculous.
Not even just in Memphis, Tennessee, but they're building it in predominantly white areas as well. In like Pennsylvania and other states, there are many, many white areas that are seeing data centers being built by all kinds of companies. So the fact that you showed or tried to make it show that this was a racial thing, what the fuck is wrong with you? I really don't even understand what's going on here. So she tries to claim that it's a racist thing, but she didn't even realize or even want to bring up the positives to this. So in case you guys are unaware, the massive positive to there being an AI data center being built in marginalized communities like this is the fact that the amount of jobs that it brings to these areas, it actually causes an economic boom. Sure, there are environmental risks that are at play, and they're trying to limit that as much as possible, but this ends up bringing massive job growth. Elon Musk is probably the most known one that has a data center for XAI in Memphis, Tennessee. He built something called the Colossus, which is a supercomputer in Southwest Memphis, and he brought one of the world's largest and expanding AI data centers with multiple jobs being brought for that. Google is also bringing a $4 billion AI data center to West Memphis in Arkansas, just across the river, and a massive investment with extensive infrastructure that are going to bring an insane amount of jobs. The average data center service jobs by salary are anywhere between a low 40,000 all the way to mid six figures for 100,000, 150,000 around there. So there are plenty of jobs that are going to offer lots of money to people that otherwise probably wouldn't have been able to get a job in the first place. So people like this that are trying to turn this into a racism thing or an absolute
they're an absolute joke, and they're really just vested in their own interests and are willing to sacrifice everyone else for their own selfish ambition. These are the least trustable, or at least amongst the most least untrustable, slimy, just rude, undesirable pieces of crap that society has to deal with for some weird reason, and they just make everyone around them miserable.
With the actual studio has nothing to do with
they don't truly care for anything or anyone but themselves.
The people that are just massive virtue sigilers online.
Yeah.
They have no idea what they're actually talking about. And unfortunately for Larian Studios, they are the next example of attacks being fueled by the gaming media. So you guys let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about Larian Studios using generative AI? What do you think about generative AI in general? Or what do you think about any of the comments that we went over in this video? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching it. If you enjoyed it, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Otherwise, your view is not going to count. And I will see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.
So, yeah, I don't think AI as a whole is necessarily fully bad thing. It depends on how it's used in different products. I don't think it should ever be a full replacement, but the fact that that's a possibility cannot be ruled out, because it saves these studios money, and you know how investors are about saving money. Usually if a game is ruined, it's because of them and them getting involved, or it's because of a crazy developers who want to get their politics involved. It's usually something in that sort of area, or they're just incompetent and don't know how to make a game properly. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was made by Hypnotic, who I will leave a link to his YouTube channel in the description down below. Please comment, leave a like, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. I'm going to be making another video tonight, so keep an eye out for that. You guys have a good one. Peace.